Our big ticket guest today is a man who makes his money helping you buy or sell tickets for some blockbuster events. Eric Baker is founder and chief executive of Viagogo. It's a website that helps people buy and sell tickets by supervising the payments and the delivery.
It's been an official partner for Madonna concerts, music festivals like Reading and Andrew Lloyd Webber's theatre productions. It's also the only legal reseller of tickets for Manchester United and Chelsea matches. And although Eric's American, he's a big fan of British sports. He's been learning to play rugby, he's even tried cricket and even taught himself to say football instead of soccer. Well, that's the big challenge. Eric, do come over and join us.
More of a challenge than you might think, saying football rather than soccer.
Oh,
this is an intensive sort of cultural familiarisation that you've been on.
Oh, absolutely. You grow up and footy in the States is soccer, and of course football is American football. So it's definitely been an adjustment, but I think I finally got it down.
And obviously you're American to begin with, of course, and you started your first business there. You moved to London 3 years ago or so?
Yeah, in 2006.
Why London? Why did you pick the UK to come to do business?
Well, we really believe that for what we do, which is giving fans a safe, secure way to buy tickets, that's a universal business, and that, you know, folks here in the UK and in Europe deserve the same protections as Americans would. And when you want to start a business in Europe, there's no better launching pad than London. Obviously, it's got a great network and infrastructure of venture capitalists, labor, you know, the financial markets. And while I don't speak English, I do speak American, and it was close enough.
How does Viagogo differ from a tout selling site? Because the sellers put tickets on, often at inflated prices to what they paid for, to buyers who really have no choice to these sold-out gigs or sold-out concerts or matches.
Sure. So the first thing to understand is really what a tout's doing is you're going to go out to a pub or you're going to go to some random site and you're buying from someone you don't know, and you don't know if the ticket's going to be authentic. You have no idea what may happen. What we do is we call safe, secure, guaranteed, and by registering every seller, we guarantee if you buy a ticket on Viagogo, you'll get it on time for the gig. It's going to be the ticket that you wanted with absolutely no problem, and if you sell, you get your money back. So we're taking care of the transaction. In terms of price, as you point out, it is a market, so sellers put the tickets up at the price they want. But actually, the majority of the tickets sell probably within 10 or 15% of the face value of the ticket.
What do you do then? Because I think the artists that support you must feel a little bit uncomfortable knowing that there are people who go out and buy tranches of tickets and then come to sites like yours, whack them on, just to make the money. They have no interest in the artist. Why are artists supporting you do this?
Well, I think the first thing for artists is that they really want to make sure that their fans don't get ripped off or taken for a ride by touts.
But they would be, wouldn't they?
And these types of things.
But they would be, wouldn't they, if people have just bought tranches of tickets to sell them for a profit?
Well, remember, the worst thing that could happen to a fan, first off, is that if you go to a pub or you go to a tout and you pay for a ticket and you don't get the ticket at all, or it's a fraudulent ticket, that's the absolute worst thing that can ever happen. Now, I think in terms of for the rest of the events where we have safe, secure, guaranteed, there is this misperception that all these gig tickets are going for huge multiples above the odds. But actually, when we look at it, two things. One is that the average ticket on our site went for about 10 to 15% above face value, so it's really not that much higher, and oftentimes it may be less. And secondly, that over 98% of the people who sold tickets on our site last year sold fewer than 10 tickets over the course of the entire year. So if you're a professional tout and you're only selling 10 tickets a year, you probably need to go get an apprenticeship doing something else.
The cut that your business takes out of this is, well, it looks fairly extensive, to be honest. You know, there's a, what is it, there's a 10% charge on the seller, there's a 15% charge on the buyer. That's a hefty margin you're taking.
Well, what we've really found is that before we existed, when you go someplace like to a tout, I might have a ticket I can't use for a gig and say I'll sell it to you for 60 quid, and you'll turn around and sell it to someone for maybe 150 as a tout, and that's a huge margin to the buyer and seller. So by doing it safely and securely, it's more reasonable, and we really think, you know, the fans here have spoken. As we said, it's our 3rd anniversary. The business has been growing by leaps and bounds. We just tripled in November, so people obviously are happy with the service.
It's good to hear businesses growing, and also you're moving towards flotation, putting the company on the stock market. What does that involve? How does your strategy change when you're thinking about doing something like that?
Well, I think the key thing for us is that as long as we can service the fan and the consumer and build a good business, as you say, it'll continue to grow and do well. We obviously believe we have an excellent business opportunity. It's been growing. And so when you think about flotation, it's all about putting the right systems in place to continue to grow dramatically and expand across the rest of Europe.
Eric, good of you to join us. Thanks very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.